Hello and welcome to a new AICA podcast. I'm Mihaela Ion and I'm quite grateful that today we're going to talk with Jean Bundy, an art historian, editor of AICA E-MAG, and a person that I learned a lot during the Congress in Romania. And it's quite rewarding to have Jean tonight or early in the morning to record this podcast, because for me it's night and for Jean it's quite early in the morning. And we're going to talk about AICA. We're going to talk about AICA E-MAG. We're going to talk the status of art criticism, and also if Jean has any other ideas about the topic of the podcast, she's more than welcome. Jean, thank you very much for accepting my invitation, and
You're welcome.
let's get into the conversation. You are the editor of AICA E-MAG, which is an amazing project that AICA is doing for several years, if I'm not mistaken. And can you tell me a bit more about how can an art historian, AICA member, can be published on AICA E-MAG?
Well, the AICA E-MAG, which is my favorite, it's my favorite thing right now. I love it. It came about, I would say, I think just about 2 years ago in over tea in Buenos Aires, with another AICA member, Lisbeth Ravola, who was then president of AICA. And we, I guess, the AICA E-MAG is a relation to the AICA Awards, the annual awards. So I guess I should start by talking about the annual awards.
Yes, for sure.
AICA Annual Awards has been around for, I guess, 10 years or so, but it sort of came and went. And during COVID, it was pretty much done. So sitting home, stuck in my house, I asked them if I could start it up again. So we started it up I think in 2022. And
Okay.
I didn't have any directions, or I asked a lot of people and ended up creating my own directions. So we created a committee, and we created a jury. And we had that from 22 to 23. We had two separate groups. This year, 2024, we combined the jury and the committee, which made a giant difference because it meant that the committee was now really involved in reading all the essays. And I would say, so around, I think 2023, we added money to the prizes. So we don't offer a lot. We offer $1,000 or dollars for the first prize, 500 for the second, and 250 for the third. And we have been getting anywhere from 25 essays a year to 100. This year we got 100 essays.
Okay,
And
that's a lot. And tell me,
a lot of essays, and so we're constantly we're an unusual awards organization in that we are not robotic. We actually talk to people when they send in an email, an essay. One of us usually emails that person back if there's problems at least once, usually twice. So we actually make an effort without actually reading the essay to make sure that they handed it in correctly. Most people are nice. We occasionally get someone who is a little grouchy. We do a very good job of dealing with people who are not nice. Most essays come at the end. We've been experimenting with 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. How long should a contest be out on social media? And one of the things the contest is points, the winners of the contest, at least the first prize winner, ends up at the Congress. Now, they originally back, before my time, they actually sent the winner to the Congress because of money and cost of airplane tickets. Lately, we have been in the wonderful advantage of Zoom. We've been putting the winner usually on Zoom. Although they're welcome to go, it depends a lot on the budget that I get for each year. And so last year's contest got 100 essays, and I have a fabulous committee. It's a lot of work to read 100 essays in 4 to 6 weeks. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is honesty. We've developed a very good system of adding up the score of who gets points and who doesn't, and we have done a really good job. Honesty and decency are probably paramount in our contest. So the contest will probably start somewhere around May this year because the Congress is earlier than I've been told. I don't know what the dates are. And it's not official yet, but we'll probably start. And we're constantly playing around with how much time should be for submitting, how much time should be for reading. Anyway, so that's kind of the concept. We do get some support from outside. Well, we get support. We have a team of social media people at AICA that really help, and some magazines and other places supported us. So anyway, the E-MAG, which is very unique, came about, as I said probably earlier, 2 years ago at a COVT in Buenos Aires, when we realized we had all these essays and giving out a few prizes seemed really a shame because some of the people who don't win are better than the people who do win. And as everybody knows, you pick 3 people on a given day, and a week later, you probably pick 3 different people. So we thought we had this, giant basket of essays. What are we going to do with it? So we started the AICA E-MAG. It came about. It got going. I think the first edition was March 2023. We're going into our 3rd year. So we it's bi-monthly. We pick out 6 essays that are sent to us. So originally it started that we would go from the pool of leftover essays that weren't to be winners. And we're picking some of them, but we're also getting new people to write. So the idea is the magazines shrinking or totally going out. There's no place for students who graduate from art schools, humanities schools, English classes, whatever, get CV points to go on to better magazines. And I totally understand because having gone back to graduate school after I was married and had children, I know what it's like to, graduate and get good grades and then be stuck without anything to do. So that's one of the reasons why we started this. I also should add back in the awards, the original contest really focused on young people under 30, and we have expanded the age because they're especially for women and who leave for having children and going back to school, or so we really have gotten to the point where we don't have an age. We
So
probably
there is
don't.
no more age limit for the people for the award.
And that's something we're going to discuss this year. We really don't have an age situation. The only people we really reject are superstars who who appear in major tabloids, and otherwise generally speaking the winners tend to be 30s, 40s, and really are beginner or going middle, mid-level people, which is funny because but we really don't. And that was one of the things when we in talking about the E-MAG, that's one of the things we do is we don't have an age issue. Now, what's unique about the E-MAG is we mix seasoned writers with beginners. And hopefully that gives people a more validation when they use us for. And I actually have had people email me and say, thank you, I got into some international magazine because of the E-MAG, and that's one of our success stories. So the E-MAG. So and I generally get one or two essays a week now on my computer. So even though I have a giant pot of essays from the last 3 or 4 contests, I often, if I'm stuck, I need them, but I often get fresh new ideas. And I have friends who are writers who have volunteered to give us essays. Once in a while, one of the things, we do not pay people to write. And every once in a while, someone says, I'm not writing for a magazine unless I get paid. And that's fine. We're all volunteers. Basically, what happens is I collect about 6 emails. We decided 6 was a good number. I actually read the essay, and I write an introductory paragraph, which someone at AICA suggested that I do. And so that forces me to read emails. I have to write one sentence basically for 6 essays. And then the package, we request that the essays be written in Word, which sometimes bothers people because we get PDFs. And it's just easier for people who are finishing the product to have it in Word. And I guess one of the things we should discuss is, and I'll get to this, what people have a struggle with. But anyway, so the package goes to one of the AICA members in Wales, in the UK. And they are amazing and can put the E-MAG onto the AICA website in less than 45 minutes.
Yes, I know they do that so fast.
Right now, last year we did 4. I think this year we're doing. There's a new magazine. Mid-December's is coming out shortly. I'm slightly a week behind due to traveling to the Congress, but it's getting there. We do right now. It's every 2 months, and so we're doing 6 a year. And so there. Again, we are constantly making changes with that. I think what amazes people, we're kind of like a black box in the drama world, in that we allow a tremendous creativity. We also don't censor, so that's another unique situation. We what we you do have, even though, so we allow for experimentation. So if you want
Okay.
to write a poem, if you want to write a poem, if you want to give us I don't know, a script, that would be okay too. The one thing we really have to have is that the product has to be in Word, and the pictures have to be embedded into the whole document, which sounds really easy, but a lot of people have trouble with that. And usually when someone sends me a script and I politely tell them to change it, they do.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't. And then I have to decide whether I'm going to change it or I'm going to let it go. And a lot of times it depends on how good, I'll go and look and say, well, if this is good enough, I'll do it. And occasionally people will send me stuff that I got a one the other day that was in someone's, Google Doc. I couldn't open it. It was, I don't have the password.
Yeah.
So, we're getting enough now that we can be more discriminating. Anyway, so let's see. And again, I was going to, what else do? I should discuss problems in writing, because I'm very fortunate that I have a degree in English from the Art Institute of Chicago. And I was very fortunate as a mom to return to graduate school. It wasn't easy, but I did. And one of the things the Art Institute of Chicago taught me was listening to my essay. So not only being grammatically good, but how does it sound? And I try to do that in my own writing, and I try to listen to other people's writing too. So we do have problems with people writing, and that's true with the awards as well as the E-MAG. Now, the E-MAG, I can be discriminated with awards. It's up to the jury to decide, and sometimes they'll pick something that is, a little weird, so that's that's what they do. I organize the awards. I do not jury the awards.
Okay. I have a question, because you talk about the jurors, you talk about AICA E-MAG, and I want to ask you, how many jurors are all over the world? Because I know several peers are from Europe, are from America, are from other continents. And tell me, how do you select them? How do you contact them, or they are coming to you in order for them to be juror for the essays?
Well, when I started, I had, I went around to the presidents of all the sections of AICA in the world and asked, and it's not easy to get people to read. I think I started out with 5 or 6. Occasionally, over the 3 or 4 months we run the contest, someone drops out. And so I've learned the hard way to have more.
Okay.
Since I combined the awards with the jury, I now have at least, I think we had 8 or 9 last year. And, some people drop out because, I don't know, they do. Some people have a medical issue, or in their job or something. But we had about 9 people, and I've learned the hard way that more is better. It's
Okay.
a lot to ask people who are already, have jobs and are basically professors or whatever, to read 100 essays in a month. And this year we did, there were a couple of people who came to me and said, can I read with my friend, one of the other jurors, can we read together? And that was a new thing we did. But both the two people who read together actually got we counted their points as individually. So you could, we're probably going to discuss that this year, that you can read with a friend, and if your friend doesn't agree with you, that's okay. But because it was almost overwhelming, the amount of essays, and a lot of those essays, the 100 came in the last day of the contest. And the last day of the contest, I was getting an essay in my email box every 5 minutes.
And I think everybody is sending all the materials in the last day.
Typical artists, it's usually the last minute.
Yes.
And the essays have to be logged in. I mean, you have to check to make sure that they have their bio, because we like to know where you come from, and that is not because we're discriminating. We need to know for the contest, if you win, where you come from. You mentioned the jury. The jury, we have about 9. We have about 2 or 3 from Brazil, which just happens to be, Brazil is fabulous when it comes to helping. I don't know why they are. We pretty much have international, but it's hard to get people to want to read. So anybody who's a member, they are members of AICA. Everybody who's a member of AICA can do it. And
really? So if they send you an email stating that they want to be part of the jury, it's more than okay?
The more, I mean, I suppose if I had more than 20, I might, but we've never gotten that. I think we had 9 or 10 this year. And that was fine. And it makes it a little easier in case someone drops out, because usually inevitably 1 or 2 people drop out. You also have to be prepared when you finish reading. We go through a 1 to 2 week jurying process, and last year we did I think we juried, well, we went through round 1. This year we only did round 2. Last year we had 3 rounds, and I actually had to break a tie, which is the only thing I do. I organize it, but I don't do it. I had to do it, and I don't like to do it, but I had to.
How did you get to the tie? Because in the last 8 minutes that we have for the podcast, how did the essay get to a tie? Because it's quite difficult from my point of view to have this situation. And tell me, how did
the essay become a tie? Well, it's
yes.
the way. It's the jurying system that we use. We use sort of a 3-2-1. I don't want to mention much more than that, but we do a 3-2-1 jurying process, and it just turned out that there was a tie, that there were 2 people at the end of round 2 that we needed. And sometimes it's not a tie for first. Sometimes it'll be, we know who the first person is, it's a tie for the second or the third. And so you can't send people 3 after 3 rounds. I broke the tie, because it gets to a point where people just are burned out. But we're very honest, we're very open, and I keep everything available for anyone to ask me what we do. So back to, I just want to mention, if we only have 8 minutes left, I guess one of the things that I try to, I don't tell people how to write, but there are mistakes that are made that amaze me, that they're made by a lot of people. And it doesn't matter. By the way, the E-MAG, the awards are in English, but the E-MAG is not necessarily in English. And I have people who have written in English and Portuguese. So it's an area where if you want to write in a language other than English, you can.
And I think the languages from AICA, the official languages of AICA, I think English, French, Spanish, I think so.
Most people want to write in English because they want to get into an English magazine. But I do have, if you're looking back, I think we've done Spanish and we've done Portuguese, which is not part of the AICA, but we have a lot of people from Brazil. So one of the things, the mistakes, and I'm only saying this because, we're trying to make people better, right? One of the things that happens is that people put too many ideas into an essay. They say, I'm going to talk about this. And then a page later, they say, oh, well, now I'm going to talk about this. So they have all these strings out there that are loose and they don't tie them together. And that's one of the things I see constantly. Now, English grammar, of course, most people write pretty well. There is an element of colonialism where people feel that English grammar is connected with colonialism, and they don't want to write incorrectly, and that's fine too if it's well done, and it's also fine. We get it, right? And so I mean, we're really a creative black box. About the only thing when I ran across this, I'm putting the December magazine. If I get stuff that is just thrown at me that has no semblance of being able to be read by anyone, that it's just pieces, there's no name, there's no biography, there's no, there's a couple where I've had to send them back and say, we're creative, but we have to be read, and we have to make our audience feel that they're learning something or they're interested in something. I do have 2 or 3 writers who have returned to me who love doing it. And that's great too. And I try to, in addition to essays, we do exhibitions, book reviews. See, what else do we do?
Interviews. I think there are also interviews.
We have people who are, sort of man. I refer to them as man on the street in areas like Hong Kong. And so I try to do a mix of stuff. So I've had people send me basically a rough draft, and that's fine as long as it someone puts their name on it. But I've gotten a couple where it's like, I got exhibition postcards, and it was like, well, I don't even know what exhibition or where they're going. So that kind of thing. I think that the other thing I should say before we hang up is people are amazed at how free we are, because most people apply to a magazine that is very one track. You must write the way we write. So I often get 2 or 3 emails from one person and say, what are the rules? And I say, well, there really are no rules. And that amazes people that we have no rules. And then the other thing is length. People, unfortunately, as everyone knows, in the art history, art critic world, bigger is better, and it isn't necessarily true. And if you don't write a lot, you can write a long essay that's absolute garbage, and they'll love it more than a short essay. So we don't. If you want to write a page that's better, we're happy. So I guess I think that here's my parting shot to writers. One of the things I really like to see in an essay is what I refer to as stop sign. If you have to get your driver's license, whatever country you're in, and you have to learn about stop sign. And one of the things that I see missing in essays is stop signs. So you need to tell your reader more about what you're doing and where you're reading it. And I think that's another mistake that's commonly made, because people think, oh, that's just silly, but it isn't. So you need to tell reader, and you don't have to be funky or it doesn't have to be. You need to tell your reader where you're going and why you're doing it, so they can follow along. And that's another area similar to so many themes in a paper. So not
And
to be anyway, but we're here to the E-MAG is here to help people, and we're here to get people resume forms so they can go on to international magazines, whether they're in paper or online, most are online these days, and that's our goal.
And right now you're preparing after this number, this Christmas number in December. You're going to prepare another one in March, isn't it? Because you told me
February.
about
February.
February. And until which date should individuals, art critics send the essays for the
People send me things all the time, and
Okay.
it's really nice. I'm filling up for February. I don't have to worry anymore about, I guess. I try to aim for the middle of the month. And
Okay.
most of the time I've hit the middle of the month. I'm probably a week late this year because of various travel I've done. And then I also I have this wonderful group in Wales that makes me look good, and I have to check with them with the holidays too. But it sounds like we'll probably be out but somewhere between Christmas and New Year's this year.
Which is great because everybody is going to have some free time, and they are going to have the time to read the articles. They're going to have the time to do more regarding what articles and what book to read. Jean,
Right,
thank
and
you
I
very
should
much.
say they're
Please.
available. They're available on the AICA International website under the masthead, and they're all
Yes.
there. You can go back to ones that I think were in our 9th or something edition, and we are being picked up by I would say social media things on that say, would you like to join us? And so we have several areas of magazines that say, if you want to join us. I'm being very careful what we do because I don't want to be put into a mold. Because one of the things that we are doing is giving people freedom to experiment, which is something that's very hard to do, especially if you get out of grad school and where are you going to go to experiment on things. So we're being very careful. Right now, I'm going to keep it the way it is, at least. And so no, it's a tremendous amount of fun for me. I get to email and talk online and talk to people all over the world, and hear about exhibitions or problems with governments, and I think it's one of the things that AICA does that is really not only fun but needed, and that we have and again, as I say, we have people who are writing in conflicted areas, and we have both sides writing for us, and we don't care, which is probably the way the world should be.
Yeah. I think this is how the world should be. World should be. Jen,
Right.
thank you very much for all the
You're welcome.
information.
I appreciate everything, and happy holidays.
Yes, of course, and for sure we're going to read the E-MAG. For sure, we're going to see new art critics coming out from AICA, and for sure, AICA is a great place to connect with different art critics from all over the world. And if you're not part of AICA, I'm talking to our audience. Please join AICA because you're going to find your peers from all over the world. Thank you very much, Jean. It was a pleasure to
Your
learn.
was wonderful.
Okay. And thank you very much all for listening to us. See you next week and see you next at the next episode of AICA. Thank you very much and have a lovely day and night.